Let's face it, sexual fidelity's a terrifying thought. Only one person for the rest of your life. But it's also, for most of us, a challenge we want to take on. In our 굿Sga이드 survey, over 7 out of 10 people said a committed one-to-one relationship is what makes you happiest. And yet, a third of the people in our survey had actually had an affair, and half of the rest had thought about it or tried to have one. There's a bit of a gap between what we believe and what we get up to. Tonight, we poke about in that gap to see why adultery is so condemned and yet so popular.
It's absolutely wonderful. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. He makes me feel alive, wanted, loved. Just completely changed my life. It's turned my life upside down, something I never thought possible.
In an affair, the sighs may be of despair or joy. Many of you watching now will have had a dangerous liaison. Probably your partner doesn't know, for affairs demand secrecy, deception and disguise. In other good sex guides, we see how you can make monogamy work. But some people say you can't. Long-term fidelity is a hopeless goal. So are affairs the surest way to sexual satisfaction, or just an anguished mess? The people we're talking to are in disguise, so they feel free to reveal the truth behind the mask. We've changed the voices of everyone we're speaking to. Kate's been having an affair for 5 years.
Because it's a double life, you have to have an imaginary brick wall, if you like. And I'm on one side with my husband, and my lover is on the other side with his family. And on the very rare occasions we do happen to meet, it's on top of that brick wall. It's very precarious, and you never know which way you're going to fall. When I took my marriage vows, I thought marriage would last forever. I was young, and I thought that was the be-all and end-all of my life. But as I've got older, I have realised there is more to life, and I need more. And perhaps this is my escape. I don't know. I just hope it goes on forever, but who knows?
In our survey, we asked people who'd had an affair how they felt about it. Were they stricken with remorse and regret? Not really. 2 out of 3 reckoned it was worth it. Most people in an affair, as opposed to a one-night stand, seem to find the experience enriches their lives enormously. Condemn them, if you will. But would you find it any easier than them to pass up the chance of extra happiness?
People who think adultery is always wrong are either very blinkered or have absolutely wonderful married lives. Until you're in this situation, I don't think you can appreciate both sides of life.
Hey, God, so glad you could make it. How are things in heaven?
Not bad, not bad. Just had cable installed.
Oh, great. Now, the book. What can I say? It's got everything. Love, death, sex, disasters, even a short, snappy title. The Bible. Love it.
It's the Bible, actually.
Even better. Now, we think this book could be mega, the biggest seller of all times.
Oh, it will be.
It just needs a few tweaks here and there.
What do you mean, a few tweaks?
Oh, nothing major. I mean, we were a little bit worried about the incest stuff in the early chapters, but we think we can fudge around that. No, it's the 10 Commandments that really worries my people.
Not enough, eh? Well, I can soon think of some more.
No, 10's too many. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're quite happy with murder and stealing, even ox coveting, but those we can handle. It's number 8.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
That's it. Elbow that and we double our sales. Guaranteed.
Sorry? No rewrites.
How about if we just add the words, "Thou shalt not commit adultery," too often?
I knew I should have taken it to Faber and Faber.
Oh, God, please. Are we going to fall out over one tiny little commandment, are we?
This wouldn't have anything to do with you and your secretary and the Frankfurt Book Fair, would it?
You know about that? Well, of course you would. But you saw what she was wearing.
No. Naughty underwear won't wash. You had been planning it for weeks.
Damn it, you're good. Okay, I'm sorry. It won't happen again, really. It does say in the book that you're a merciful chap, right?
All right. You are forgiven.
Ah, thank you so much. It's not just me, you understand. Adultery is the numero uno recreational pastime in the world. There's going to be an awful lot of sinners around.
True. But it was the only way I could think to keep politicians out of heaven.
Don't change a word. We've got a deal. This calls for champagne. Waiter.
What is 42 quid a bottle? You must be joking. Here, I'll do the business.
Would you bring in another dozen bottles of Perrier, please?
Why do people have affairs? Is it just the excitement of a new sexual encounter? Psychologist Dr. Janet Riebstein has conducted a 10-year study into affairs.
People don't have affairs just for sex. And in fact, one of the interesting things is that a lot of people told us in the study that we did that the sex that they had was rather disappointing, and technically, sex was better in their marriages. But what is true about affairs is that the sex that's in it is exciting and new and forbidden. And because it's forbidden, it has an extra dimension that marital sex just cannot have. And in that sense, it's for the sex. It's for the drama and the excitement that accompanies the sex.
Most infidelity is not a great love story. In our survey, we asked people why they'd had an affair. A quarter said, "I was in love," but half said, "for the thrill of a secret meeting."
I think I do what 90% of the people, 90% of the population would like to do. They just haven't got the courage to do it or the know-how how to do it and get away with it.
My relationship with my husband and my relationship with my lover are two different relationships. My actual husband is more of my companion. I like him. We're good friends. My lover is more... It's a physical thing. It's nothing else. I couldn't ask... Don't ask me what his interests are. Don't ask me what he does for a living. I couldn't care less.
My husband works very, very, very long hours. Really doesn't have much time for me. And I think doesn't have much time for sex either. So I found that he's not really that interested in sex, so that I do have to look for it elsewhere.
The girl I'm living with at the moment doesn't bore me at all. I'm very happy with her, but I feel by going out and having affairs, there's something else I can get out of life that she can't give me. That doesn't mean what she gives me is lacking in any way. You know, it's just a bit of variety that's nice, I think.
I think for almost every sensate being, there is a tension between being the wish to be monogamous and to be in a monogamous relationship, and the wish to have a new experience and develop oneself in relation to others who are not familiar to you, who are different, who provide new experiences. And that's a tension of life that we all have to live with and accept. I think it would be, well, silly to deny that there isn't the tension between the push for novelty and the push for monogamy.
Most of us try not to give in to this push for novelty. We fear it might destroy our main relationship and imprison us in guilt. But it seems that once you're in an affair, you refuse to look at the downside.
I don't feel guilty at all. None at all. Not whatsoever. I don't see why I should feel guilty. I'm not hurting my husband. He's not giving me what I want, so I'm having an affair.
It's down to an individual as to where your morals, what your morals are, or where you draw the line. And basically my morals are that as long as I'm not hurting anybody, then there's not really a problem.
If you don't rub it in each other's faces, then it's not harming anybody. I've been married for 2 years and it hasn't harmed my relationship at all.
I would say that adultery is never a good thing. Now, that sounds very definitive, very hard, very definite. Sorry, adultery is never a good thing. It always hurts somebody. You may think you're having a good time, you may think you're getting away with it. Somebody on the sidelines is being hurt. You yourself are probably being hurt. You're defending yourself against it. You've got a barrier there if you think that everything is okay. It isn't. Adultery always hurts.
We condemn a person whose push for novelty leads them into an affair. We're more forgiven if they leave the family and start a new relationship. But if you can't manage to be faithful, maybe having a bit on the side is not so bad as breaking up a family.
If you're saying, okay, which is better, having sleeping with somebody or breaking up your marriage, I think the breaking up the marriage, we know, has a huge social, financial, and psychological cost to enormous numbers of people, not just even just the children and the parents. There's spin-offs, sort of a whirlpool effect, a rippling effect. And I think that we don't think enough about that as a society. So, I mean, certainly if the choice is between having a self-contained affair that doesn't break up a family and that doesn't cause a mess and heartache, then I think the cost is much greater of breaking up a marriage.
After the break, how your affair is most likely to be discovered. I've gone underground in Birmingham, waiting for someone who sees all the bitterness, anger, jealousy and deceit that adultery can cause. She runs a private detective agency and they're whisking me off to a rendezvous with her now. Liz, what type of people come to you for help?
When we first started we thought it would be definitely women only. But no, I'm quite surprised. 50% of my clients are now men. A man takes a little bit longer to decide that his partner's messing around. The classic is she goes off sex. I mean, that is a classic. It's not always a good enough reason that they're having an affair, though. Usually that's the first part of it, followed up then by she has a shower when she comes home, where she normally wouldn't do that. She's changed the colour of her hair. Her skirts are getting a bit shorter.
How about men? Do they do the same thing, you know, buy younger clothes?
Not so much younger clothes, it's their underwear more so with men. They've decided they're going to buy their own underwear, whereas the wife normally buys it. They might take a bit longer in the bathroom too than what they normally do. If they're getting ready to go out with you, you know, it's a 10-minute job and they're ready, whereas if you suspect that they're going to see someone else, it's usually a half an hour.
Are people sometimes wrong about the suspicions?
99% are usually right.
Later, I went out on a job with Liz, trailing a suspicious couple.
We're very, very crafty. If someone's meeting someone in a pub or a bar or a hotel or somewhere like that, then we go in and act, you know, as though we're out on a night out too. Oh, right. Nice position.
Well, just at first sight, do you think there is something going on?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Well, they wouldn't be together if they weren't up to it, would they? We will pretend to photograph each other when, in fact, we're actually photographing the two people together, so that means we can get brilliant photographs or whatever. We'll even sit right beside them, picking up the conversations, maybe recording it, you know, secretly. Right, so we'll go out the door and we'll go then.
It's not just a good laugh, is it?
No. An affair is that you're actually hurting somebody else, really. At the end of the day, somebody somewhere is hurting.
Oh, I knew it! Hey, who the hell are you?
Mr. Hartley Brewer, Suspicious Minds Agency. We've caught you on behalf of your wife, Patricia. Obviously, she'd like to be here herself at this special time in your relationship, but she's got a lot of important meetings this morning.
You what?
Gentlemen, let's get to work. Ed, start the dishes. Dave, you're on the bottle.
And don't give me another one of your excuses, James, because I'm not listening. You unfaithful bastard.
Here we go. What's going on? I'm 37 and I'm on the shelf. Oh, I really thought he loved me, you know.
This is intolerable. I can't believe that Patricia paid you to come over and do this. Hi, Rupert. This is Patricia. I've just split up with your brother, so I thought maybe you could come over for dinner tonight and then sex. That's what I've always said, the hot's for you too. About 8 then. Lovely.
Well done. He's coming on, isn't he?
Look, mister, whatever your name is, I'm not normally a violent man.
Dave, now.
I don't want to get nasty, but James, take me back. Please, I can't live without you. Take me back, please. I forgive you. Come back to me. Patricia. No, I'm not coming back to you. I don't need you.
Oh, no, that I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I'm still alive.
Hey, I never said I was an angel, Patricia. Oh, you're behaving like an immature, silly little girl. Look, I'm sorry. Look, this is really hard for me. I guess I'm not very good at expressing myself, but what I'm trying to say is, I love you, Patricia. I love you.
Oh, James, what's happened to us?
Thanks, guys. Did you take a switch?
Yes, that's fine. We're off now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Patricia, let's start again. Let's go somewhere, just the two of us. I know, Venice. Let's go right now.
What a wonderful idea, James. It's such a shame I'm so busy right now.
Patricia!
Don't worry, James. You'll be going with these gentlemen.
Darling!
When married life becomes boring, we tend to blame ourselves. We think there's something wrong with our particular relationship. But maybe the problem's more general. We just expect too much these days from marriage.
Well, I think everybody's ideal of marriage is wonderful. You marry someone, oh, fantastic. You have a lovely house, children. Husband comes home at night, kisses his wife. Hello, darling, how was the night? It doesn't work like that. Nothing at all. It's not like that. Very quickly changes after a marriage. Very quickly, boredom sets in. What used to take 1 or 2 hours to make love takes 20 minutes, and that's, you know, you're pushing it at 20 minutes. So, yes, I think people have pushed the idea of marriages too high, and some people do come down with quite a thump.
Today, in our culture, most people enter marriage expecting that there's one's spouse is going to be one's best friend, one's best lover, one's most intimate soulmate, and providing one with constant support, and unvaryingly over a lifetime of a marriage. So if that's your expectation of a marriage, at some point in your marriage you're going to be disappointed, and therefore you're going to think something's wrong with my marriage. It's not giving me what I expect. And as I say, too many people today actually do have that definition of marriage, and they don't change it, even though their marriage doesn't meet their expectations, and most marriages over a lifetime are not going to.
Would I rather be with someone that I got everything from? Yes, ideally, that would be wonderful, that you could have everything, but I don't think that exists anymore. There is no ideal solution to it. You can't have everything. You can't. There's no way.
But what happens if an affair is discovered? In our survey, twice as many people said they'd dump an unfaithful mate as actually do so. If you found out your partner was having a liaison, could you look the other way?
When I found out my husband was having an affair, I issued an ultimatum. But given the circumstances, I think he was basically too weak. And I think because of the other woman who kept on and on, I don't think I was really given a chance. I just still didn't want to believe it either. You know, I just thought it would all blow over and it would be okay at the end of the day. And it wasn't until, you know, as I say, my husband actually went that, you know, the realisation set in.
But sometimes when an affair's found out, it can lead to a stronger marriage, especially if you can resist that it's them or me speech.
I didn't know that we were going to be able to work it out, no. I didn't really know what to expect. He could have turned around and suggested that he wanted to leave. It could have gone the other way, or I could have turned around and said, OK, that's it, finish. But I wanted to make a go of it, and so did he. I feel that it's brought us closer together because we spoke about the situation and how we feel about each other, which is something we've never done in the past.
And sometimes the only way you can actually get to talking about deep feelings, recognising what in the past has affected your behaviour, affected your relationship, led you where you are. The only way you can do that, in fact, is through crisis. It's a pity. I would far rather people were actually able to do this before the devastating hurt is caused. But if that is the only way it can happen, well then, yes, you do come out stronger. Yes, a lot of marriages actually do come out better, stronger, happier, more loving through a crisis of this nature.
You know, the safest advice about affairs has got to be, don't. But as we've seen, life's not always that simple, is it? You start an affair hoping for happiness, but if you don't keep your emotions in check, it can lead to great sadness.
Some do end up in tragedy and sorrow and all of that, but some end up in just these kind of feelings of transformation and joy and gratitude and fun, and a feeling of, oh, that was a really special experience. I'm really glad I did it.
Next week, we're back on the straight and narrow. Does monogamy lead to monotony? Not according to the couples we've talked to. They've found some tasty ways to keep boredom at bay. Give me some ideas and oh, see you then.